Just what's on your mind, what you drinking? Is that whiskey on your breath?
What is up, Los Angelinos? What is going on? We are back in full effect with episode 10 of the Showtime Forum Podcast. I am your host, Rael Barbon, and with me this week is Mr. Javier Hernandez. What's going on, Javi?
Good. Nothing, man. Nothing much. Just a lot of Laker drama, that we have to talk about. So.
Yeah. Oh, for sure, man. But before we get into that, let's go ahead and say our farewell to Mr. Audel del Toro, who jumped ship, who's no longer going to be with Showtime Forum for personal reasons. So we wish him well. We hope we wish him well with his with all his future endeavors. So from there on, let's get this going. Now we got Javi on here. He's going to go ahead and take over, and we're going to level up now, right? All right, man. So let's go ahead. Just before we get everything going, let's just remind everybody where you can drop a line if you want to reach Showtime Forum. That's on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook. Just remember, it's at Showtime Forum. If you want to catch me or Javier, make sure you look at the description down below, and you can catch our handles as well. All right. But this week, honestly, was a little bit quieter than we've had in recent weeks. There was that big Baxter Holmes article that came out a couple days ago. But honestly, I wasn't really feeling it too much. It was a lot of recycled information that we've already known, different wording. I know there was like sprinkles of new things in there, but to me, it was just kind of old news, man. I don't know how you felt about it, but
yeah, same old. We did have though a fun story about Rob, however, there with
that was
later, So we at least there's that to have fun with.
Well, why don't you tell everybody what that story was, man?
So Rob Pelinka was with The Rock, and he was talking to the team. And Rob Pelinka starts talking about how one time Kobe saw The Dark Knight, and he was so intrigued by how Heath Ledger took his performance to another level. So he asked, allegedly, Rob Pelinka to set him up with dinner with Heath Ledger, which he did, and then he used that as motivation for the Knicks game. Little problem with that, though, is that Heath Ledger had passed away 6 months before The Dark Knight released.
Hey-o!
A little bit of, off on the timeline there.
Yeah, no. It's just, is it, at this point, dude, with all the Laker bashing we have going on, is that even a surprise of a story, dude? It's just like... Of anything that Baxter Holmes, reported, that was probably like the best piece of the whole article, even aside from like the Magic stuff and the toxicity in the personnel. But oh my God, I think it's well documented already at this point that Rob Pelinka is a bit of an embellisher, and I'm going to say a bit just because he's still employed by the Lakers, but. Oh man, that story to me, one, it's funny, but two, I don't know how much of that I can really like weigh heavily, just because maybe he's just a liar, man. Maybe he got some information crossed or something. I don't know, man. I'm trying to figure out an out for Rob right now.
Yeah, and I really thought it was a joke when I first saw it online. I thought maybe I just saw the aggregation portion of it, and I thought maybe somebody was just pulling a prank. I see the video, and I really couldn't believe my ears, man, what I was hearing there from Rob.
Oh, yeah, man. But so here's the question I have for you, dude. So are you tired of hearing these stories at this point? Because honestly, I am, dude. I'm just sick of it.
So sick of hearing these stories about Rob, Magic, Genie. Now we got Rich Paul with Adam Silver. We know that LeBron and Rich Paul didn't like Luke Walton as the coach, and they didn't think he was the right coach. We know Rob Pelinka and Magic don't like each other, and now Magic went on again on the ESPN show there with Stephen A. and Michael Wilbon to defend his side of the story about how he doesn't mistreat employees. So it's the same old tired narrative. This is unfortunately who we're rolling with. So let's just go ahead and try to make the best out of it. It's kind of getting tiring just bashing these guys.
Oh man, dude, bashing. Is it even bashing at this point, man? I feel like at this point it's just like it's harassment now. There's no way we can just like file some kind of harassment suit against most of these media guys out there. Honestly, at this point, I wouldn't be surprised if tomorrow Barstool Sports comes out there and like puts out some crazy story about LeBron's pet goldfish running like some illegal gambling ring or something. That's where we're going at this point.
Yeah, Taco Tuesday. I'm surprised I wasn't on Taker.
Taco Tuesday, Taco Tuesday. Yeah, that was pretty good. That was pretty good.
Oh,
But
yeah.
even through like all these narratives and everything that's going around, man, honestly, I still think we're like in the best spot we've been in for some time. I don't want to say exactly how long, but I think we're in the best spot we've been in a while. And I think it's maybe just because we just really haven't opened our mouth. I know a lot of people are kind of hungry to hear Jeannie Buss talk and Rob and all these guys come out and say some words to kind of defend themselves or whatever. But I think at this point they're handling it the right way. They're just staying tight-lipped about it. They're closing the doors. They're not bending to the public outcry that's going on. I think at this point we got to keep moving. We got to keep pushing. And for the next 3 weeks leading up into that draft, it's only going to get worse, man. You're going to see a lot of bashing, Laker bashing stories from different places. Honestly, I was kind of surprised that Brian Windhorst came out this week and was actually backing the Lakers a little bit. I can't say I've heard that for some time.
Yeah, that was very surprising. I mean, Brian, the good thing about this is Brian did the same thing last year, kind of changed his narrative a little bit into, the beat there of how he's talking when it was closer to free agency time. And LeBron ended up coming. So maybe it's encouraging that Brian Windhorst is coming out and saying all the positives the Lakers have, talking about how great LA is and people still want to come here. That's something that, maybe he got a little wind, no pun intended, there of something. So let's hope so, man. But we're not in a bad position. We got some good cap space. We have the number 4 pick now. And we still have the young players that we can use as assets or grow with the team. Yeah,
I mean, we got way too many. If we strike out this offseason, then please, by all means, fire Rob, fire Jeannie, fire Kurt, hire Linda, and then fire her. I don't really care, dude. If we strike out completely this offseason, I just fire everybody, dude. At that point, there's no excuse for us to come back with like just a Al Horford. I've been a big Al Horford guy, but if we're walking away with only Al Horford, please somebody just shoot me.
Yeah, I mean, Jimmy Butler's probably what worst case scenario would be that a lot of people are talking about, which not to me. I mean, I think Jimmy Butler would actually be a great piece next to LeBron and the kids. Championship team, maybe not. That all depends on if we get some additional pieces that can help the team.
Yeah.
But, we can definitely compete, man, and that's not striking out if we get somebody like, let's say, Jimmy Butler.
Oh, yeah, for sure. But like I was saying, all these narratives have been coming around. They've been swirling, and they've been swirling for some time. It's not just this offseason. It hasn't been just last year. I mean, it's the Lakers are a polarizing organization, man. You're going to get some of the good, some of the bad, a lot of the bad, really. But the only thing that's going to wipe that away is just going to be hanging up another banner, man. That's the only thing. And I said this back 5-6 years ago when Lob City was like in full effect, and we were just kind of like just on the downside of our success. I'm not going to be surprised when we hang up another banner in the next couple years. I mean, I said we'd hang up another banner before the Clips did, and I still stand by that. I don't care if Kawhi goes to the Clips. I don't really care. The Clips will forever be the Clips, man. They're not going anywhere. But in the next 3 weeks, we're going to see this negative Lakers spin go to like level 10. And just because, there's going to be a lot of guys who are going to be pushing narratives for the Celtics, pushing narratives for the Pelicans, and whoever else wants to join the Anthony Davis sweepstakes, saying that, where do you think Anthony Davis lands, man? Do you think he's going to move before the draft, or you think that the Pelicans are going to be stubborn and just try to hold on to him as long as they can?
That's a good question. I mean, with David Griffin taking over, obviously there are a lot of different takes that you can see. He has a lot of options. He's been doing a lot of moves over there. And, I mean, essentially you don't have to let AD go now. You could wait till the trade deadline. But I'm assuming there's going to be a lot of bids for him this summer. I mean, AD is as good as gone, according to New Orleans beat writer who went today on the radio, and he was talking about how he thinks it's a 120% chance that he's gone. And with David Griffin here, maybe now there's a 95, 98% chance. So, I mean, everybody's kind of talking about it like it's going to happen. I don't think New Orleans holds on to him given all the drama that they dealt with already during the season, AD getting fined, with Rich Paul coming out with this statement, fighting the league about sitting AD for some games. I think this gets done, around maybe draft, maybe a little bit after, but before the season for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I think for them, they got to move by the draft. I think for them to get what they want or max out what they want and not what people have, they got to go before the draft or by the absolute latest time frame that they can during the draft. Just because, I mean, if you're not happy with Kuzma, with injured Brandon Ingram, Lonzo Ball Lonzo Ball that has a LeVar Ball attached to him. If you're not interested in those guys right now, then your best interest is going to be just load up on draft picks and just surround Zion. If you're the Pelicans, in my opinion, because after the draft, dude, every day they wait after that draft is going to affect the Pelicans. Just because I think that those packages are going to get smaller and smaller. If I'm the Lakers, I mean, we've got into this before, where we were talking about who we would offer and whatever the case is, right? I'm still standing firm with what I said. I still would love to have at least one of our core guys here with us if we can snag AD, right? And honestly, I would love to have Lonzo. I'd love to have Ingram. I'd love to have Kuz. But it's kind of like picking between your children. It's like you love them all. Right. So at this point, I'm not going to get greedy. I'm going to say, can we just keep one? That's all I want, But I think if the Pelicans wait, that's the wrong move. So I know David Griffin's has been anointed as this great GM. I don't think he's that great of a GM. I mean, if I had LeBron James, I think I could win a chip. Give me LeBron James. I think I could probably put something together. And I'm not taking anything away from him. I'm just saying, like, I want to see him do it outside of LeBron James, before I sit there and say he's a great GM. Definitely a great communicator from everything that I've heard, read. But I would definitely say that I'm not going to go ahead and just say that this guy's like the second coming of Jerry West at this point. So I think if they wait, it's a terrible decision for the Pelicans. Yeah.
With that said, I mean, let's not forget he got let go from Cleveland as well. During his tenure there. So maybe he can do some good things in New Orleans. He's got, Zion, a couple of other pieces, and we'll see what he does.
Yeah, and I don't know if you did you see De'Aaron Fox went on with Skip Bayless, I think, right, and was sitting there talking about Lonzo Ball, right, and how he was saying that Lonzo, in effect, is still not a finished product, and he was pretty much saying, like, they're 21, like, what do you expect them? You expect them to peak at 21? I mean, I think only LeBron James can really peak at 21 at this point, right? But LeBron James was built like a 30-year-old man, by the time he was 19, though. Right. But with that being said, De'Aaron Fox said a lot of good things about Lonzo Ball, which, obviously I don't want to say never the case, but it's hardly the case, especially if you're on Twitter. But that goes with a lot of Laker narratives. A lot of Laker narratives, like we were saying, are negative and whatnot. But if you kind of look outside of the narratives that get pushed, there are a lot of stories around them that kind of make you think twice about why people are saying what they're saying. Richard Jefferson, about a week and a half ago, said that the Lakers are still a viable spot. Jason Terry has said that. Who else said that? I think Monty Williams just wrote a nice little piece about Jeannie Buss, right?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, so there's still a lot of, even Magic through all his bashing is still attached at the hip to the Lakers, So if we're so bad, or if we're as bad as everybody says we are, then why are there some conflicting stories? Ty Lue apparently gave Vogel the green light to move forward after he dropped out, right? I mean, it's all I ask for people to do is just to kind of step back, take a look at the story and say, hey, okay, who's benefiting from the story? One, but two, why would they be putting it out? Because people got to eat, right? And like if you're a reporter, you need sources, and I'm not going to bash anybody for doing what they got to do to get their sources. But as far as fans, I'm just saying, let's just take a look at the big picture. Let's not just react, because Laker fans, we're hot and cold. We're hot one day, cold the next, and then hot again as soon as somebody says something.
This is how it works being a Laker fan. So LeBron James, best player in the world. Everybody says it. He comes to the Lakers. Oh, he's washed. He doesn't have it anymore. He's too old. This and that. Let's take, for example, the Rockets. Let's hear what's going on with the Rockets and all the assistant coaches being let go. They're not trying to negotiate with, Mike D'Antoni. Chris Paul is on the trade block. Capella these guys they just signed, it's a dumpster fire over there. But, you only hear it momentarily, and then the Lakers rise back up with any little noise that you hear. That's just how it is being a Laker fan. Everybody's going to try to diminish, your team. Everybody's going to try to diminish, the front office as much as they can. Like, we've heard it all before. But Houston's situation is just as bad right now. And at the end of the day, we're going to make the news over Houston or anybody else.
Yeah, and I don't know if I even say it's just as bad, man. I think they might have it worse at this point because Houston is they're locked into those heavy contracts, man. Chris Paul, what's his face? Slipping my mind right now. The center, Clint Capella. Right. Those huge contracts that they have there. I mean, it's gonna be tough for them to move them. They don't really have a lot of youth around them right now at this point. They're kind of stuck with the team they have, and I mean, I'm kind of curious to see what kind of moves they're gonna pull off to kind of reset because. At this point, it's not working. I don't think that Daryl Morey can really go into this next season saying, I just need one more guy, right? I just need one more guy. I mean, if you haven't seen enough of Chris Paul, you can't depend on Chris Paul for whatever the reason is, whether it's an injury or whatever the case is. James Harden, I mean, prior to him signing with the Rockets, the one finals appearance he made with the Thunder disappeared off the face of the earth. So a lot of the stuff that's coming up shouldn't be a surprise, Obviously, they locked up Clint Capella. I think that was more out of necessity than actually the value he brought. Maybe specifically to the Rockets, but maybe not necessarily the value that he brings in general to a team outside of the Rockets, right? But I'm kind of curious to see where they're going to go with it. But honestly, I would rather be the Lakers at this point than the Rockets.
Yeah, and let me just say this. Keep Chris Paul as far away from the Lakers as
please.
Please do not take that contract over. Worst contract in the NBA with John Wall.
Oh yeah, no, please. I do not. I was a big Chris Paul guy before he signed with the Clippers, but man, just watching him in LA just over the years has just turned me off to him, man. He's a chatterbox. You can't talk as much as Chris Paul talks without backing it up, man. And I mean, perfect example is him kicking Steph Curry off the court, right? Kicking him off the court in that final elimination game.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, just stop. Just at some point, you just have to learn to just stop and just focus on what you need to focus on. How many times did you hear Kobe getting into it before a playoff series?
Man,
I mean,
Kobe, focus, man. I mean, he couldn't even let Chris Rock tell him a joke next to him on the bench.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, and speaking about Kobe, I know a lot of people are saying that Kobe's kind of trying to stay away as far as helping the Lakers recruit and whatnot, but there's a lot of rumors going around that he's reaching out to Kyrie Irving right now. And, I can't imagine that Kobe Bryant is not going to help the Lakers, especially knowing where Magic stands. I just can't believe that he wouldn't be inclined to help the Lakers out with as far as recruiting goes. And I definitely think he's out there right now reaching out to Kyrie Irving.
Right. Yeah, I agree. We've seen how big of a Kobe guy Kyrie Irving is. I mean, from Team USA, how he was always around Kobe trying to pick his brain, from winning a championship. And his first Instagram post after winning a championship was a picture of Kobe holding his first championship, and it said mood. This guy, he acknowledges that Kobe's one of the all-time greats, has a good relationship with him. And, I don't doubt it that Kobe has had conversations with Kyrie about what it is to be a Laker. And hopefully that's something that helps us in the long run.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And I know, Kyrie put up that Instagram post right after they won. But I heard the story that apparently right after they won, he got on the phone with Kobe while everybody was sitting there celebrating, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, that tells you right there just how much love Kyrie has for Kobe and how much he values his word. So I can't imagine if Kobe's sitting there saying, hey, man, you need to go ahead and squash this drama with LeBron, which from all accounts has been squashed. But if it hasn't been yet, they've said, squash. You got to squash that, and especially if he's going back to his experiences with Shaq, because now in hindsight, a lot of the times you hear Shaq and Kobe talking about, yeah, man, if we were still together, we would have won 6, 7, 8, 9 chips, right? So I can't imagine that Kyrie doesn't take that into heavy account. I know Colin Cowherd came out and said that he saw Kyrie Irving signing with the Nets. I don't see that happening. I mean, I like Colin, but I don't see that happening at all. Not at all.
He has some pretty wild ideas, that's for sure.
Yeah, no, for sure. But as far as everybody else that's out there right now, if we're going with worst case scenario, who's your worst case scenario as far as free agents go? Like just bottom of the barrel, like you're just gonna go ahead and say, okay, I'm fine with that. Like cutting out the Kyries, cutting out the KDs, cutting out the big name guys. Who are you gonna go ahead and say this is my bottom of the barrel guy that I'm gonna allow to slip by?
Kemba Walker.
Okay.
I think it stops there for me because he's a borderline, I wouldn't want to say superstar, but he's definitely an all-star type caliber player that can elevate his team, put buckets up when he needs to. Not so great on the defensive end, which is why it cuts at Jimmy Butler for me, because he can do it on both ends. So if we're going to go worst case scenario to something that's acceptable, it would stop at Kemba Walker. I think Middleton is way too far down the line.
Yeah, I agree.
Obviously, this is a whole entirely different conversation. Kemba is where it's at for me. I mean, what do you think in that regard?
Dude, honestly, I've kind of come around on Kemba. I mean, I'm still kind of like he's a last resort type of guy, but I'm kind of at the point now where I'm considering taking Kemba over Kyrie. And yeah, and like I said, my biggest problem with Kemba is just the fact that the defensive deficiencies that he's going to give us. If he were to sign with us, we're going to have to figure ways to kind of hide him on defense and whatnot. And in the playoffs, teams are going to go after that, and they're going to exploit those type of matchups. So that's my only issue with Kemba. Kemba is an awesome scorer. I mean, the one thing that I'll give him, well, not the one thing, a couple things that I'll give him over Kyrie is, one, he's consistent. Injury-wise, he's a lot healthier than Kyrie is. He doesn't have the same health concerns that Kyrie has. And two, I don't want to say he's more level-headed, but he's just more of a consistent mind frame. He's a worker. You don't really hear him too much. You don't hear too much chatter in the media about him. I don't know if that's because just of where he plays or whatnot, but I've kind of come around on Kemba just because of that, and maybe I think it really would come down a lot. For me, it would specifically come down to just how much the price tag is on Kemba this offseason. But at this point, I might be just 50-50 on Kemba and Kyrie. Yeah,
and I don't think Charlotte's going to give him the supermax. Now he's eligible obviously for the supermax since he made an All-NBA team. I don't know if they'll go that deep, and maybe if they don't offer it, he gets offended and he wants to go elsewhere. I mean, what better place than LA to make that up with endorsements?
Oh, for sure, dude. Kemba Walker in LA would be nuts. Like most people, I feel like Kemba Walker could probably get by on walking through LA without being recognized. I'm not saying I think a lot of diehards would probably know who he is, but I feel like a lot of the time, a lot of people would not recognize Kemba Walker just walking down the street. What is he, 6'1", so it's not like relatively too big of a guy. Obviously you got a 6'10", 6'11" guy walking around. It's a lot easier to spot, but I feel like Kemba Walker could probably get around in LA at this point, just, and I think that says a lot. But, moving on from like the higher tier guys, who are the guys you would fill in this roster with if you do sign like a Kemba or a Kyrie or a Kawhi or whoever it is, any of the Ks? I know a lot of people are saying, bring back JaVale McGee. I know we posted something today about JaVale McGee coming back, working on his 3-point shot, right? He's up there just, oh yeah, please. Yeah, and I know there was somebody on the Showtime Forum post that said something about I think what was the exact quote that we put up on Showtime Forum with that post? Was it something about like, would you want him back or shooting threes or something like that, right?
Yeah, I believe Greg Bergman. I don't know if anybody knows this guy, but he wasn't too fond of JaVale McGee shooting threes. He says, if we're getting him back, I don't want him shooting threes, But, it's okay to expand his game. It's not a tool he's probably not going to use all the time. But, when it's there, maybe if the shot clock's winding down, if he's super wide open. But, I'd rather keep JaVale in the post, but he'd be good to bring back. A couple of the guys, I mean, obviously, you want shooters. Playmakers did not work. We had way too many playmakers. You want guys like J.J. Redick, those type of players that could come in. Maybe, Kyle Korver type of player. Those kind of players that just can come in and, affect the team by, being ready for the driving kick by LeBron. If we get another superstar on the team as well, they're going to have more opportunities. So players like that, I feel they can help the team.
Oh yeah, I know the guy, one of the followers that responded to our post. I think his name was, and I'm sorry if I forget it, but I think it was like Cam M. Actually, you know what? I think I have it up here. Yeah, it's at GKSM15. So Cam.M. And he pretty much said that he would take JaVale back, but he should play a maximum of 15 to 18 minutes off the bench. And that's where you're going to get his best production. The longer he plays, the worse he gets, right? And JaVale McGee pretty much jumped in there, responded with FOH. So I'm not going to go ahead and, tell everybody what that means, but I think everybody kind of knows what FOH means at this point, right? And and if you don't know, it's pretty much F out of here. So I'll just leave it at that, right?
Right, yeah.
So, but honestly, I think that's fair. I think that's kind of where I've been coming from. I wouldn't mind JaVale back, but he's a 15 to 18 minute guy. I see why he wasn't getting significant minutes in other places he was at. He has spurts where he plays amazing, and then he has spurts where you're just sitting there scratching your head like, what is this guy doing, And I'm all for him expanding his game and all that, but honestly, I don't care for it. I personally don't care for it. JaVale, go ahead, get it, bro. But just as long as it's not in LA at this point, man. And I say that with as much respect as I can say, And feel free to go ahead and, criticize me if you want. I don't really care. I mean, who am I, right? At this point. But yeah, JaVale, honestly, like I said, I would take JaVale back, but no more than 15 to 18 minutes off the bench for me. I'm going to go ahead and just agree with Cam.
Yeah, I agree. That's when he's the most productive.
Yeah, and there was another ex-Laker that was pretty loud on Twitter tonight during the game 1 of the finals. It was Nick Young. I don't know if you caught that, but he went out there and said Kawhi Leonard is cold but don't act like Bron ain't ran through the East every year. It's like y'all couldn't wait for him to miss the playoffs. Y'all better appreciate what the man did for the league. Dude, I couldn't have said it any better myself. And I don't know if Nick's sitting there trying to sway some Laker fans into bringing him back, but I mean, you can't deny that, man. LeBron ran through the East every single year. I don't know why it's such a surprise that Kawhi is doing the same thing. Yeah, he got the best of Giannis in the last round. I personally had the Bucks taking it all the way. But yeah, Kawhi's doing what he's supposed to do, man. He's up there with LeBron. I mean, prior to his injury, he was people were saying that he was right up there with LeBron as far as the best player in the league right before he got injured with the Spurs. So, I mean, that doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, let's not forget. I mean, as great of a run as Kawhi has had, LeBron James has done this 8 times in a row. Got to the finals. That's insane. I mean, even just that last finals he made against Golden State, the first game where he dropped 50 points before J.R. Smith, just went bonkers on that last play. Kawhi Leonard is a great player, and, he's going to continue getting better. To me, it's just the same old thing. If LeBron was still with the Cavs, things would change as far as what people think about him. But people act like LeBron is done and he's never going to see one playoff game ever again in his life. Let's not forget where the Lakers were before he went down with the injury. Let's not forget exactly what they did in that exact game and beat the Warriors in Golden State.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's pretty much everything that sums up this week, right? I don't really know anything else that came up. I know there was a couple interesting trade scenarios. I know I don't know if you follow. Do you follow Vinny Kilowalla?
Yes, I do. Good follow.
Yeah, man, he's a great follow, man. He put up an interesting. I'm trying to see if I find it. Put up an interesting trade scenario that pretty much keeps 2 of the core guys, and I don't know where this guy gets his information from, but I would love for it to be dead on. So pretty much he was sitting there breaking this down. And he was just saying it was a step-by-step example of how the Lakers can sign a max free agent and get Anthony Davis. And he goes on to say, this is assuming the salary cap remains at $109 million and LA stays with the number 4 spot, and wants to send the minimal amount of young core as possible, right? So in this scenario, he's pretty much saying that if the Lakers can go ahead and clear cap room for a 30% max free agent by trading Bonga for a 2019 second rounder on draft day, designate Jonathan Williams to a 2-way contract, and Wade Jones. Excuse me, and Wade Jones, and renounce all our other holds, right? So from there, he pretty much says, we're able to sign a 30% max free agent and some draft picks. And that would kind of lead to us enticing Chicago to trade their number 7 pick for Lonzo. And then we can reroute that pick to New Orleans. And that would pretty much send Lonzo Ball, the number 4 pick, Josh Hart, Mo Wagner, and a second rounder to New Orleans. Well, I'm sorry, not to New Orleans, but that would send that out. Chicago would pretty much get Lonzo Ball in a second rounder, and the Lakers would get Anthony Davis in a second rounder, while New Orleans would get the number 4 pick and number 7 pick, Josh Hart, Mo Wagner, and a second rounder. If we could pull that off, man, I would be ecstatic, man. And even if we could just throw in if we had to throw in another core guy, I would be still thrilled with that, man. I don't know about you.
Yeah, me too. I think if we end up doing the trade for Anthony Davis, I think it's going to involve a third team. And Chicago is one of those teams that's just very, very interested in Lonzo Ball. With the 7th pick, there may be something that they can do. So we'll see what happens. Let me ask you this. How do you feel maybe if we strike out and trying to build a trade package for Bradley Beal?
I'm okay with Bradley Beal, but it can't be too heavy in my opinion because Bradley Beal is I think he's going on his last season, right? This is pretty much his expiring year.
Right, yeah, I think so. And he's about 25, 26 years old as well. He's still relatively young.
Yeah, with the 1 year, man, there's just no way I can go ahead and unload more than maybe one core guy. And honestly, even then I would kind of hesitate to do that. If I'm the Lakers, I'm maybe moving him for like the number 4 pick and maybe like some secondary guys like Josh Hart or something like that. I mean, if they want a core guy, I don't know if I can really do that, man. Just because Bradley Beal, unless Bradley Beal is willing to commit. If he's willing to commit to something aside of that, and it's a contract that works for the Lakers, okay, fine. But if we're going into this with just we're going into it with his last year and just kind of seeing how it plays out, then no, I can't do that. I can't do that at all.
Yeah, I think I draw the line at Kuzma and maybe the pick and whatever else makes it work. I wouldn't throw Brandon Ingram or Lonzo Ball in any trade package for Bradley Beal.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. And I know last week we had Chris Manning on, and we were talking about what do the Wizards do if the Lakers are on the clock, number 4 pick, and RJ Barrett's still sitting there, right? And they call up the Wizards, and they're like, hey, we got this number 4 pick sitting here with Josh Hart, throwing a couple of future picks. What do you guys say? I don't know how the Wizards don't move on that, I feel like this season for John Wall is going to kind of be a wash coming back from injury and whatnot and trying to work his way back into the fold. So why not sit here and just try to retool a little bit? You're stuck with that terrible John Wall contract for years to come. So at this point, I would just say, hey, if you can get RJ Barrett at number 4, do it. Aside from that, I think I'm with you. I think I don't move. If I have to move a core guy, I don't think it's anybody but Kuz. And even that, dude, Kuz reminds me so much of Kobe that every time I see this kid working, it just reminds me, like, that's why he's here. That's why he's here. That's why he's sitting there working with Chris Matthews, a.k.a. Lethal Shooter. Every year, sitting there trying to expand his game, trying to get better. And that's something that, yeah, Lonzo got bigger and whatnot. He was injured last year, but you see it from Kuz, man. You see that hunger.
Yeah, you see basically like the purple and gold just oozing out of him. He loves Kobe. Today he put a story. He was watching Kobe highlights. He was riding around listening to Live and Die in L.A. Man. So yeah, obviously he's from Flint, but as far as what he studies, as far as what he is, as far as the culture, L.A. fits this guy just right, man. And I hope we do keep him. And I see the work. Hopefully he does come back with a consistent jump shot, and maybe that's going to raise his value too. And we'll see if this goes to the trade deadline, maybe what things are going to look like by that time.
So real quick before we sign off here, is Anthony Davis a Laker by draft day?
I think so, man. I think a few more weeks, maybe 3-4.
Yeah, I completely
rumblings, and I think it's going to happen. I don't think David Griffin has any restrictions on where he can trade to. And if we're being realistic, given that Kyrie is most likely leaving Boston, I don't think they throw Tatum for the possibility of having AD for a year and then he leaves. That's just something you don't do. I think AD is a Laker, and we're going to lose some pieces, but I believe we're going to have something up our sleeve, hopefully.
Oh yeah, man, and I'm with you, man. I think by the time that draft is over, Anthony Davis will be a Laker. And if he's not, I mark my words, man, the Pelicans will regret it, dude. Will regret it. Telling you, man, that car is losing value, bro.
Back to the Showtime dealership, huh?
Back to the Showtime dealership, bro. Except minus Audel this time, right?
I know. He bought his car already. He's gone.
Dude, Audel's gone, bro. He's driving that Chevy Bolt right off the lot.
Yeah, Audel, good luck. I heard he's trying to buy a yacht. He's, doing good things,
Oh, well, dude, if he's living like that, I mean, I'm waiting for my invite then. But yeah, I think that's gonna wrap it up for us this week. I want to thank everybody for tuning in to episode 10 of the Showtime Forum Podcast. Just remember that we're up here grinding every single day for you guys. The aggregations you see online, the memes, all the content you see being pushed out right now, the graphics that Javier puts out, all that stuff, man. Everything we're doing, we do it for you guys, man. So just keep that in mind. I know it's real easy to just kind of see it and say, oh, that's not too hard. But honestly, it's not as easy as it looks, man. Like I said, we just make it look easy. So from everybody at the Showtime Forum Podcast, I want to go ahead and thank everybody for listening. If you're not already checking us out, make sure you tune in, subscribe, review, share the podcast. We're on iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts, on YouTube. Make sure you follow us. Make sure you share it with your friends. If you got some beef with us, go ahead, man. Drop a tweet. Drop whatever you want to do, man. We ain't got no problem interacting. We're not too high up there to go ahead and mingle. I'm about to go home right now and eat. It's about 10 o'clock. I still gotta go home, eat, probably cut my grass. I don't know, man. I gotta see what I gotta do right now. But from everybody at Showtime Forum, once again, we want to thank everybody for tuning in. And we'll catch you guys next week.
Yeah, see you next week.